Hey there, everyone. How are you all today? I hope good. So now I'm going to continue on. I'm going to do a shorter video though. I thought 20 minutes was a bit long. So now I'm going to do a little something different. I'm going to, in between all the flowers, I'm going to start adding different color instead of coloring in the shapes. So for instance, over here, I'm going to add a nice contrasting color between the stem and the leaf here. So, you know, I start with coloring in some of the shapes, but then I do some contrasting colors. In between the shapes. You can do it like I'm doing it, or you can do one solid color in between the shapes. You could do like all green or all yellow. I don't. I mix it up a little and do different colors in between. Obviously because I like a lot of color. But also I think it's like interesting because you don't normally think that there's going to be all these different colors between the flowers. But I feel like when you look into a garden, there is all those colors. And they're just not obvious because they all go together and you see the view like you see it. But it's made up of all the colors, because there might be flowers behind these that are peeking through. So that's why I like to do it this way. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I leave it white as well, or sometimes I do all black. But for today I'm going to try this. I was going to speed up this video, but I thought you may want to see every detail more, so I left it a little, left it slow. I'm sorry, my mind is wandering. So that's why I didn't speed up this one. I know this is like a long process. It may look like this is such a simple piece that just is finished quickly, but it's really not. It really takes a lot of time. So I didn't want to speed up in case you, you know, want to see something particular, and then you can ask me about it if you have any questions. Another way to do this without doing color pencil or pen, you could just do watercolor, and that would go much quicker if you do a very fine brush of watercolor in between. So I am loving using these colored pencils lately. I don't know why I've put them away for so long. Years, I think. I think I bought these back in like 2012, the whole set. I bought them when, I don't know if any of you remember Dion Dior. Yeah, she was a friend of mine. She's still on, but she does other things now. She's doing botanical drawing, and she was showing a lot about how you use watercolors. I mean, how you use colored pencils, watercolor color pencils and regular color pencils. So I bought them because I was going to practice that, but I never ended up doing it. So I put them away. It's like my oil pastels. I got them like a year ago, maybe more than a year ago, but I never took them out either after I got them. Oh, not sharp enough. And you can limit your palette to 2 or 3 colors when you're doing it like this in between. You can use two, 3 colors or more, but I'm using every color. It's going to be like a very busy kind of piece, but I just feel like doing that with this one. Sometimes I may want another more subdued palette. And you have to feel like doing this. I mean, on some days, if I just want to be doing watercolor or something that's, a bit not as slow paced, I don't even think I'd be able to do this if I didn't feel like doing it. You have to be in the mood to do certain techniques or certain styles. And this is not for every day, maybe, because sometimes you just want to do something quick. So, sometimes I don't know where to go. I wouldn't have to sharpen my pencils so much if I did them sharp enough the first time. But I keep going back and sharpening because I never do it sharp enough the first time. There's actually a reason for that. If you sharpen these too long, sometimes the lead or whatever it's called inside here breaks and then the piece pulls out. So I try to only sharpen like 1 or 2 twists because I've had a lot of issues with the leads breaking. And that's like such a waste. I mean, I keep all the pieces that fall out, but you really never end up using them because they're so small to hold. So, someone was telling me about chalk colored pencils or chalk pencils. And I was wondering if they were Archival and Lightfast, and yes, they are. So I'm thinking about getting the chalk pencils or just getting a small pack and trying them out. I'm very curious to see how they are. The person who told me said they're fabulous. They're thick and rich and creamy and in a pencil form, and you can sharpen them, and they're very saturated. Okay, I'm going to stop for here for now, and I'll be back in a little bit. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Hope you're all having a great middle of the week, hump day. So I am going to finish these flowers with a little bit of gel pen, and then I am going to use my Winsor & Newton watercolor markers, which I've had for many years, and they still work and have as much pigment and color as they did. See, these pens aren't working that great. I need a new set. They're not supposed to leave lines like that. Anyway, I want to show you how wonderful the watercolor markers are. They're pigment based, not dye. It's real watercolor inside the pen, and they are so saturated, it's unbelievable. I've had them for probably 4 or 5 years. Here I go, whistling again. I was dying to do this last night. I just felt so much like working on it, but I didn't have my camera set up or anything. So I had to wait till today. So I just played with my pens, doing other stuff. So this is pretty basic. This is just like coloring. I mean, there's not really technique here, but I just wanted to show you how when you use all the different supplies together, some of the looks you can get. And as I said before, you can use all of one supply or 1 or 2. You don't have to use as many as I did. And mix as many or different ones as you like. I just like doing it for the different textures and opacity levels and transparency levels you get. Plus, this is a very relaxing. Every so often, I'll just make one of these to do, just for fun. I just love filling in the small spaces. And it's just very relaxing and meditative. It's like making a mandala. And then you get nice results too. You know, then I'll photograph this and I can make this into a nice card. You know, I'll photograph it at a very high JPEG so it can be blown up nice. And I can make cards out of this. I mean, there's so much I could do with it. Maybe they'll use some of this design for one of the fabrics or something. I mean, it's fun to do. Coloring is fun to do, but if you don't like coloring in coloring books, just make your own. I did a large, I'll show you later, I did a large scribble garden the other day with colored pencil and China marker, which is a marker that is water repellent. It's like waxy. It's kind of like a charcoaly look, but it's waxy, so when you put watercolor on top of it, it's like a crayon. So I did that the other day. That came out very nice. I'll show you a picture of it later. I think I'm going to use it for today's download as well, because I already photographed it and made it be a high JPEG so you can have it blown up if you want bigger. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave the rest of these because I'm going to add something after I do the background. I want to show you a little bit of the watercolor pencil, of the Okay, so these are Winsor & Newton watercolor markers. So it's not going to fade, it's not dye, it's pigment. And I just want to show you how like saturated they are. So they have great color, and you just color them in a little bit, and then you take your brush with water and you just spread it. And because I use the gel pen here, I can go over it and it's not going to move around. And what's nice about this, you get the darker tone and the lighter, and that's what you want. You want the difference. So here is dark, and then as you spread it out, it gets lighter. And it just makes a nice background. This one's a lot darker. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to turn it upside down and add a lot of water on the brush and let it drip. And kind of help it along with my brush. Now I want it much lighter up here, so I'm going to squirt it and let it just drip. Add a little more color. Oh, sorry about the camera. And I'm just taking my brush and going back and forth, layering over the lighter color, and then I'm just going to squirt it and let it drip off. Even if it goes on your flower, that's okay, because I'm actually going over these white spots with colored pencil. And I'll go over the pink too. And then just a little squirt and let it drip. See, now here it left a stain, which I don't really like. I guess I put too much there. I don't really like that, but it's okay because I can fix it later. See, so you get a nice little blended effect here. I can go over that later with pen. I like to have the marks like this one, but this one I don't like. It looks too blotchy. You can also score it from the beginning and not use the water. Now I'm just going and adding a little back and forth. So you're getting a nice, you don't want it too dark though. So you're getting a nice effect. For the sky. So you see, you have a nice, with the white and the blue. And it's a nice effect. I love doing that. This is a very saturated marker. Oh, sorry. I keep hitting my... It's a very saturated marker, so sometimes it puts too much color. And then you just turn it upright and you see where you want to add some more color. Okay. Okay. So you have like a nice okay. just kind of blending in bottom now. Okay, now this is wet. I have to let this dry. And then I'm going to add more color into the rest of the flower. Oh, I see a little spot I forgot. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry, and I'll be back.